All right, we can go ahead and get started. So thank you all for joining our final workshop of the day, Ramblers in the Kitchen. I just wanted to inform you all that this workshop will be recorded. My name is Adrienne. If you have any issues or have any questions throughout the session, you can go ahead and shoot me a message or put it in the chat. You can also message Robin too. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mackenzie, Michelle, and Christina.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming today. Should be a fun event. We're going to do some baking. So I guess I can introduce the event. So welcome to our, I guess it's a baking class, not a cooking class, but we'll have a few options tonight that we're going to do. So I'm going to be baking some chocolate chip cookies. I think Mackenzie will be doing banana bread and Michelle's going to make brownies, right, Michelle? Yes. So everyone can choose what you want to make, and then we'll make it together. So in normal times, the Community Service and Action office on campus sends groups of students to the St. Thomas of Canterbury Soup Kitchen in Chicago, and the volunteers will prepare soup and treats for the guests, and it's a nice environment to sit down and have a meal with the guests that come and do it, and also to meet new people who come from Loyola and also volunteer from the greater community. I myself go to Soup Kitchen often when I can during a typical school year. And several other members of our group on campus are leaders or frequently volunteer as well. And one of my favorite parts of the Soup Kitchen is the opportunity to interact and to share a meal with people, as well as to cook the meals together. So that's what we were trying to recreate for everyone tonight. So although we can't be together in person, we hope to be able to build this community. Again, if you have any questions about the Soup Kitchen or LUC Serve Loyola, Chicago in general, feel free to ask at any time. And with that, I think we can get started. So,
hey everyone, I'm Mackenzie. I'm going to be making banana bread, and along with the Soup Kitchen, what's going on right now is the Lakeview Pantry that's in Rogers Park, and they actually still need volunteers. So we're doing this like kind of in remembrance of the Soup Kitchen, wanting to go back there, but I just wanted to say that there are still opportunities out there to still get involved with the community and through outreach. So yeah, and then Michelle, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Michelle. I'm not the biggest baker in the world, so I'm making a box version of brownies. This is one of my favorites. It's the Ghirardelli's. So yeah, I can get started, I guess. I don't have anything else to add.
So is anyone going to be like baking with us? Because I know we've posted the recipes, so I was wondering if like anyone is making the food along with us.
Or just cook in general. You just make
yeah.
I can try to make some banana bread. I've never done it before, but I'll wing it.
You know what? That's amazing. I'm here for it. Do you have a recipe? Because I can drop mine in the chat if you want mine.
Yeah, can you put it in the chat, please?
Yeah,
awesome.
Of course.
I can put a link to mine in the chat as well if anyone wants to make some Nestle Toll House chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, so good.
Okay, I think it just sent to everyone. And then Michelle's doing like a boxed brownie mix, but if you don't have her boxed, you can make brownies in general, you know?
Yes.
The thing I love about banana bread is it's literally so easy to make, but it's so good. Okay, shall we get started?
So.
Okay. And then for the people who like aren't baking with us, do you all have any questions for us about community service in action, about the soup kitchen, just in general, or you could tell us like why you're here, what you're hoping to get out this event.
Maybe we could also do intros. I don't know if like they're freshmen who just have questions about Loyola in general, because you know, this is an unconventional semester for you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
I can go ahead and start with introductions. My name is Hannah. I work with Community Service in Action, and I work with Soup Kitchen program typically. So I'm really excited to be really thinking about all of the people that we serve and we serve with when we're at the Soup Kitchen, and taking some time to really remember that today. And as I was saying a little bit earlier, unfortunately my kitchen is preoccupied, so I can't bake with you today, but very excited for the reflection and meeting new people that goes with it.
I can go next. I'm Youssef. I'm a freshman here at Loyola, and let's see, I'm a business major, and yeah, that's yeah.
I'm Mary. I'm also a freshman. I'm a bio major on a pre-med track, and I procrastinate by baking, so that's why this sounded really fun.
I'm Claude. I am a freshman nursing student, and I just thought it would be a good way to branch out and meet new people, because I was hesitant, and social anxiety was like, ooh, but I forced myself to do it because I love to bake, and I thought it was a fun way to, you know, take some time to myself and also help other people.
Hey y'all, my name is Maya Mark Strauss. I'm sorry you all can't see my face. I've been having some internet problems today, so every time I turn on my camera, it kind of like glitches. But I'm an undecided business major. I am a second year at Loyola, and I had always heard about CSA programming. My first year was more about like transitioning and finding time to balance my academics. So I never really had a bunch of time to get involved in CSA, and so now is kind of the perfect opportunity to virtually. So, and I love baking, but I'm horrible at it. I'm more of like a cooking person, but I love baking when it's easy recipes. So, and by the way, Michelle, the brownies that you're making, or I believe it was you making brownies, those are amazing. I second that. Those are such a good recipe. You only need like 3 ingredients, but they're so good.
I agree. I mean, my roommate, when we were still on campus, would make them like once a week. They're like our favorite thing in the world.
Hi, everybody. I'm Megan. I also work in community service and action and work with the students who are doing the baking today. I live in Rogers Park, just a little bit north of campus, and I actually had the really great opportunity to connect with the Soup Kitchen late this summer. So while they're not serving guests actively right now down at St. Thomas of Canterbury in the traditional way, so the guests aren't coming in and sitting down for a meal, they are still able to give out bagged lunches and food that folks can take home with them. So luckily, they were able to figure out a way that they never had to stop the distribution of food to all of their guests during the craziness of getting the transition to COVID. So a few friends and I went down, and instead of them cooking soup or whatever food the day of, they're now doing pre-made sandwiches the day before. So it's sandwiches, and then they put together a packet of utensils and other kinds of things, because the folks also get some hot food the day of. So it's Tuesdays and Fridays. So it was really great to be down at the Soup Kitchen in August and to make the sandwiches. But I got to say, it was really different being in the space without all of our student volunteers from Loyola and all of the guests. So everybody is eager for the chance for community to come back there. The folks who work at the Soup Kitchen have said that in a really good and hard way, that the guests really still are looking for community, so they hang out when they come for the food distribution, which is great, minus the problem of social distancing. So they've been trying to figure out those different ways to maintain community. So when you're on campus, it's definitely a great way to go. Mackenzie also mentioned Lakeview Pantry. I haven't been able to be there during COVID world, but in their pre-COVID world, they know how to use a volunteer to their best to support their recipients of the food at that food pantry. So definitely two really great places that I can personally recommend, having been at both before. So long answer, but just really great organizations that these students are talking about today.
I was also just going to say, like, it's kind of difficult to have community when everyone's social distancing and everything. But I found baking to be really important for building community. Like, the reason I'm wearing a mask is because I'm making banana bread and then I'm gonna like bring it to my friends who I can't see still because COVID, social distancing. But I can still like make things for them and be there for them in that way. And I found baking to be really good for like self-care, like when I'm really stressed out. I will like make banana bread and it just feels like, it reminds me of my grandma, like I said, but it also just feels really good to be using my hands and like stepping away from the screens and everything. So yeah, that's kind of why I love to bake. Does anyone else want to say why they love to bake?
I'm right there with you, Mackenzie. I also agree. It's a very nice stress reliever, but also good to share what you make with people. One thing I love to bake other than cookies is focaccia. And so I always like to, for a special occasion, just bring a loaf, and it's nice for sharing with some olive oil, and it's just perfect, and like rosemary on the top. So really tasty.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I'm not a big baker, like I said, but I like to cook or just like make like fun little like snacks that are easy for college students. Because when I'm like studying, I always have to eat something. So I think it's like a good way to like, you know, balance the school and like free time kind of thing.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adrian, and I'm the dietitian at the Wellness Center, and I wasn't planning on baking, but you all inspired me, so I'm going to prepare a dinner that's kind of like baking, kind of like cooking. I'm going to make a vegan quiche with like hash browns as the crust. I don't know, I found it online a while ago, and yeah, here we go. Thank you for inspiring me.
I'll share real fast. My name is Robin Berman. I'm the Senior Health Educator and Advocacy Coordinator at the Wellness Center. And I started cooking and baking more because of COVID, and I was bored and I needed to do some things, and I've been getting better at it, so that's really exciting. And what I'm really trying to do this week is not have a flat sourdough loaf. I have only exclusively made flat sourdough loaves, so I'm like getting my starter ready, and I'm going to be putting it together. And I finally got a Dutch oven, so I think that's going to be a game changer. But that's what I'm currently working on in my baking life right now, is no flat sourdough.
Hi, I'm Mia. I'm a first year. I'm a public health major on the pre-med track. I'm part of CSM in the Service and Faith Learning community, and so I thought that this would be like a nice video to watch, or like a nice Zoom meeting to join, because I like watching people cook. Now, I'm not very good at it. I tend to make a huge mess, and I somehow end up like burning a lot of things, even though like most packages say only cook this or like only bake this for this amount of time. I always end up doing it anyway. I don't know how, so I just tend to watch other people do it, and so I just thought that this would be like a nice way to pass the time.
Mia, I consider myself a decent cook, whether it's dinner or desserts, but I managed to burn peas a couple weeks ago. And I'm still not quite sure how I did that.
One time I was trying to make crepes with my friend, and this was when I was really young, okay? So like you got to give me a little bit of grace here. But I was trying to make crepes with my friend and I used white powdered sugar instead of flour. I just didn't look at the label and it was so bad. And I think that's partly why I like stopped baking for a moment because I was so embarrassed. But now like I know the difference. I know to read the labels. Okay?
I'm Mary again, and everyone in my family has a sweet tooth, which isn't that bad, but there's 6 of us. So that means for the past like week, and instead of like watching the Great British Baking Show, I'm just making cookies and brownies and stuff. So I've made brownies 2 days in a row, and like the other days I was making cookies, and they run out every day. So it's nice that I like have a cookie jar that I can like constantly refill, but I'm trying to like get into harder things. That way it's a little less like monotonous, I guess. Like, so I guess I'm gonna go for like muffins with like a filling tomorrow. I don't know. It's probably not gonna turn out great, but it's okay.
I remember one time in high school, we had made like my Spanish teacher like a little birthday gift, and by we I mean like a couple of my friends, but we had like watched cooking shows, so we were like, okay, we're gonna shape the cake. So we had like kind of like cut off the edges to like make it a certain shape, and it just did not work out well. But with all those like shavings, we made like a bag of like cake shavings and like put icing in there, and we were just like eating cake pieces and frosting out of a Ziploc bag. Like we would just pass around the Ziploc bag in the middle of class, and people would be like, what are you eating? And it would just be like cake shrapnel. So we don't really make cakes anymore.
Isn't that how you make those like cake pops that they have at like Starbucks? You have to like put like cake shavings with frosting, no?
Yeah, and you like put it in the fridge and let them form in balls. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to make a bundt cake a few days ago with my brother, but he kind of forgot to grease the pan all the way. So, and we also were trying to do a Halloween theme, so we added an entire tube of red food dye and an entire tube of blue food dye, and the cake turned out green and black, so I'm not sure how that happened because that's not how colors work. But we called it our Frankenstein cake because it fell apart. But yeah.
At least Frankenstein was on theme for Halloween, so it sounds perfect to me.
Mia, when you were talking about the bag of cake shavings, you actually made me think of another service location that our students work with a lot that has a baking element. So some of you might have heard of Misericordia. It's just about a mile west of Loyola's Lakeshore campus. And it's a residential campus, primarily for adults with developmental disabilities. There are some children, but it's primarily adults. And wonderful organization, wonderful environment, really a welcoming, loving place. And a lot of our students go there to do different volunteer opportunities. Hannah helps connect them. So it might be students who go and they work in an adaptive yoga and they're helping the residents at Misericordia through a yoga class, or bingo, or some kind of other art class. But one of the things that Misericordia does that's really awesome is it has a lot of work opportunities for the residents, and one of those is a bakery. And let me tell you, they make some really awesome baked goods there, including brownies. And the connection back to the bag is we took a group of students once, this was like a start of school year service day, and I kid you not, there had been something that went wrong with some of the brownies. They have high quality control. They sent us home with like 2 giant trash bags of brownie remnants, and the students were just eating it the whole way back to campus from Misericordia. So I strongly recommend Misericordia for its baked goods and for its service opportunities. They're also just soon opening up like a coffee outlet, sort of a coffee bakery thing that's a little bit different from the campus. So something to look forward to when you're back in Chicago.
They also deliver if you're not back in Chicago. For Mother's Day, they had like these cute little tulip cookies. So I sent them to like a bouquet of cookies to my grandma, and that went all the way to Milwaukee. So at least it goes that far. I know for sure that they'll deliver, which is pretty cool during quarantine because yes, the baked goods are very, very good.
I got some brownies from Ms. sent to Massachusetts, so they deliver pretty far, but I second that. They're absolutely delicious, and the popcorn is also really good if you've never tried that. It's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, kettle corn-like, but it's sort of like little puffs of popcorn. So good. Definitely recommend. I also recommend the service. I've done sports and knitting at Ms., and both great experiences. Very different, but both really cool options. So.
And the good thing is you never feel bad eating anything from there because you know everything went to a good cause. So the calories are just perfect, right in you.
Speaking of bakeries, do y'all have favorite places in Chicago that you like to get baked goods? I know that one of my favorite places is off of Argyle, and it's a Chinese bakery right by the train. And they bake everything fresh every day, and it's like so good. Like when I tell you that every single time I just want to buy out the whole place because it's also really cheap, which is great for college students. I'm not even kidding. I could eat there all day, every day. But I think also for first years when we're back on campus, it's just fun to have like a list of places to be able to refer to. So, I mean, if anyone else has good recommendations, that would be amazing.
So it's not like a bakery person. I guess I can't remember the name of the bakery, but Metropolis sells baked goods from a bakery that's vegan and gluten-free. And they have amazing like vegan and gluten-free zucchini like bundt cakes. I can't remember the name because they get it from a bakery in Rogers Park. It's only like 20 minutes from Rogers Park, but they're so good. Highly recommend.
Their muffins are really good too. I always like get a coffee and muffins at what's it called? At Metropolis, and it's so close to campus, so it's like really easy to walk there.
Apparently Megan and I both think it might be deflowered, which I think the actual bakery is in Andersonville.
That is right. It is deflowered. Thank you for that.
I'm not from Chicago, but I recently was introduced to Nothing Bundt Cakes. That place is so good. I'm not usually a cake person. They're like my least favorite baked good, but when I had that, I was like, dang, this is amazing.
The free samples they give out always are so good. I love that place.
Now, I'm not from the Chicago area either. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, but we have this place called the Kolache Factory, which I don't know if anyone, Mary knows what I'm talking about, but it's like Polish food. So what they do is they take like something in the middle and then they'll bake like kind of like this salty sweet dough around it. So they do breakfast and lunch. They close by 2 because they bake everything fresh and then they sell out. So it's like kind of like everyday kind of thing. You can get like ones with hot dogs. You can get ones with like scrambled eggs, biscuits and gravy. You can get like hamburger meat. My favorites are like the barbecue brisket. It's like barbecue meat with like Sweet Baby Ray sauce on it, like in the dough. And it's, they do like scrambled eggs and like ham and potato and like jalapeno poppers and all that stuff. And it's like all of the mixings are like in a dough, so it's like you're just eating this ball, but it's like filled with delicious savory stuff. So yeah,
there's one right by my house and I had like 5 friends working there at one point, so I got free kolaches all the time and I'd bring home boxes at a time, and they're really good, but they're really bad for you after a while.
I used to live in Iowa, and like there's all these like tiny Mennonite communities that make kolaches just like randomly and then sell them like by the street corner, and that was the real.
One thing I thought we could talk about is how you all are doing your grocery shopping with COVID and everything. So I know I've been using Imperfect Foods. They take like foods from like California with the forest fires that have like ash on them, and then they send them to you. And because some people feel uncomfortable even going into Aldi's or anything, I was wondering like how that is working for you all.
For me, I'm still able to go into like my normal grocery store. They just have like the areas that where you can go one way down and stuff, and everyone just wears their masks and we wipe everything down. But luckily it's not too much of a hot spot where I live, so perks of Kansas, I guess.
Wait, are you in Kansas?
Yeah.
I'm from Kansas. Which area?
Overland Park.
I know that area. It's like 30 minutes from my house. I'm not there right now, but big Kansas stan.
Yeah, I can still go to stores too and shop like normally. It's not horrible here, the virus, but we just still have to wear masks and like social distance and stuff.
I've also usually been going to the store, but if anyone has heard of Instacart, that's also a nice option. Especially here in Chicago, if you don't have a car or like to go to like different stores that are maybe a little further away and you don't want to use public transport, that's kind of a nice option. Like one of the places they have is Sam's Club. So I've gotten stuff from there a couple times to buy in bulk. But yeah.
I don't know if you guys had this problem, but so my entire family is vegetarian. And so we don't drink any like cow's milk or anything. We only use soy products. And it was like during the start of quarantine, it was really hard to find soy milk in certain products. Like, and we did a lot of, so actually my brother and I have a medical disorder that makes it so it's more serious that we stay away from the virus. So we weren't going personally to the store. We were doing like a Instacart sort of thing. And it was so difficult to get certain things. And we would keep trying to reorder it and it would be like, out of stock, out of stock. But then when my dad eventually went to the store, it wasn't out of stock. They were all still there, but they just weren't sending it to us. I don't know, but it was really frustrating at first. But eventually we got it all figured it out. We're good now. But it's frustrating to grocery shop.
Yeah, I've got a family member with a pretty severe food allergy, and I thought a lot about people with allergies and with health conditions that you really, it's not a choice, right? And I thought a lot about those folks when it was so much more difficult to find things, and hoping like, please don't everybody who can't find the quote unquote normal product take the other one because those folks really need it.
As you talked about the soy milk shortage, it was interesting that, so I'm in Wisconsin right now, so getting Wisconsin news is just a little different than city of Chicago news. And so, especially at the beginning of quarantine, and I think for now, I think they've kind of figured it out, but like a lot of farmers were having to dump a lot of milk because they couldn't sell it. There wasn't enough demand. And so like that was one, really frustrating for the farmers, but also like really sad for a lot of other people from a like food waste standpoint. And so it took a while, but I think they've figured out, one, restaurants slowly opened, at least for takeout and stuff like that, because that's where a lot of it went. But also like how to connect food programs to farmers more specifically. So if farmers can't actually sell their food, then they can get it to the food programs in some way. for like maybe a smaller profit or something like that. So, but yeah, it was a really interesting challenge at the beginning of COVID, and it was like really hard to see, but like you can't stop producing milk because like that you would also really harm the animals to do that. So yeah, it was interesting.
So I wonder if our bakers can give us an update. Where are you in your recipe? What's been the challenge? Have you thrown in your little extra dash of something that's your secret ingredient? Like Michelle, those Ghirardelli brownies are great. I often add even more chocolate to them sometimes. Do you do anything like that?
No, I'm always scared that like my oven's gonna blow up, so I don't add anything extra, but I already put them in the oven, so we'll see. Because it says that if you put them in a glass dish, which is what I did, you have to cook them for 50 minutes, which is like a lot longer than the metal dishes, and I'm very concerned, so we'll see how this turns out.
Yeah, mine are my banana bread's in the oven too. Very excited, and I always add a little bit more cinnamon than it usually calls for because I love cinnamon banana bread.
Are you, Mackenzie, the kind of person that likes chocolate chips in your banana bread or nuts, or are you not about that?
It definitely depends. Today I was like just the banana bread, like no chocolate chips, it's fine. But like if I'm making it because I want more of like a sweet or like a dessert, then I'll definitely put chocolate chips in it.
I'm usually on the straight banana bread train.
I did a banana bread a couple weeks ago that had all kinds of stuff in it. It had coconut. It was calling for granola, for banana chips, all kinds of things. I only had like the nuts and the coconut, so everything else got left out. But it was interesting.
I'm doing some final mixing over here, waiting for the oven to preheat.
I finished my crust. It looks like this. And now I'm gonna make the filling. And this recipe says simple, and it's not simple.
So what do you use to make it vegan?
It's like silk tofu, and then hummus and like and leeks and like sauteed onions and tomatoes and stuff. And you just like mix it all together and then put it in there. I'm a casual like vegan, vegetarian, selectarian. I just like to change it up sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I've just always been curious at the egg substitute, because like you can buy egg substitute, and is that the same as like the silk tofu? Is that different?
I think that they just like decided for this recipe to use the tofu because it's just it will create a similar texture, but it's not really like, for other recipes, usually you use like an egg replacement instead of like silk tofu. Like for baking, I don't think that would work or taste good.
No problem.
For baking, I think they typically use applesauce, or there's a specific like aqua something. This is gonna sound really gross, but it's like the liquid from chickpeas, and you.
I have heard about that.
Yeah.
Aquafaba?
Yeah. That's exactly. Yep. And it doesn't taste weird or anything. It just kind of sounds like a interesting concept.
My mom recently baked like homemade bread, and we're like vegan too, so we didn't want to get eggs, so we used applesauce. And you know, like you could just smell the bread was a little bit sweeter, but it was still like very good bread. Like it went pretty fast in the house, but we used applesauce instead of eggs in our house.
Yeah, I went on a trip with a kid who has a really, really bad egg allergy, so we couldn't use that. And we also ran out of oil halfway through, so we made brownies with banana and applesauce. and it sounds really weird, and the texture was like just barely off, but it was just more like moist and gooey a little bit. And honestly, some of the best brownies I've had, and I need to make them again to see if they're still that good, but yeah.
Yeah, I used to be allergic to eggs like a while ago, but I outgrew it, and like I had to always eat like baked goods without eggs. There was like this store that sold a ton of baked goods without eggs, and so I'd always buy baked goods from that, and like yeah, I just had to always eat everything without eggs, but thankfully I outgrew it, so.
Claude, how is your banana bread coming?
It is coming along. It is fully mixed now. I'm just trying to debate. I'm texting my mom to see what she wants in the banana bread, to see if I should put any nuts in it, because she's typically a nuts person. So we're doing a poll, household poll, and then we're putting it in the oven.
I'm very excited about this.
I have a question. Do you guys, like, when you bake, do you eat like whatever's left on the bowl on the outside, or do you like wash it away? Because some of my friends are very anti eating this, and I personally always like to have like just like lick it off.
That's how I bribe my brothers into helping me bake. I say, like, you get the spatula at the end, you can lick the bowl or whatever, but like obviously I'm gonna save the stuff with the most of it for myself, so I give them whatever has the second most, but that's how I get helpers.
Have you guys ever made edible cookie dough? Because that stuff is good. They actually have it on the back of like I don't know if it's the Nestle or if it's the one that Christina is using, but it's like they'll have a recipe on the back, and it's like how to create like your own like cookie batter, and then you just don't add eggs and you can eat it just like that.
Any cookie dough can be edible if you try hard enough.
True.
I 100% second that.
I think for me, it depends on what it is. I really like brownie batter, but I tend to like that. I don't always do it with cookie dough, which I know is a very strange thing because most people love cookie dough, but I like brownie batter better.
So I tried a portion control technique over the winter. I made a full batch of cookies. I lived by myself. It was a tough time to share, right? So I was like, all right, I'm gonna just form the balls, but I'm not gonna cook them because then I have to like pull them out and cook them before I eat them. But I didn't. Just take one out of the freezer and just eat a frozen ball of cookie dough, and it was good.
Speaking of portion control, let me show you what I just got for my birthday, which I'm super psyched about. And I don't really even care about portion control. I just love it because it's cute. It's a tiny waffle maker with rainbows on it. It makes like little tiny Eggo-shaped waffles, and I love it so much. And I recently learned that I can put hash browns in it. So that's been really big for me. Also, I'm literally making rice with a rice maker.
I approve. I'm real bad at rice.
Not to bring the mood down or anything, but talking about cookie dough, I used to eat cookie dough all the time, and then I took a food. Oh, okay, I'm done. I won't tell you all.
No, you can tell us. You can tell us. I'm sorry.
I took a food safety course, and they made us watch this movie short film about this mom who made cookies for her son for like prom, and she ate some of the batter, and she ended up in the hospital and like got paralyzed or something crazy. And like the chances of that are really slim, but now it always makes me second guess myself before I eat cookie dough. Sometimes I still do it, but just saying.
Wow, Adrian.
I'm sorry, just how to make that public health announcement.
This is our dietitian, Adrian.
Have you all ever seen the movie Rocky where he like drinks like two things of like not rotten eggs, but like non-cooked eggs? Have you ever seen that movie? Please tell me if someone's seen that movie. I'm getting a nod from Mary.
That's
My
like a
name is
stereotype
literally
for buff
Adrian.
people. Like, I don't understand how that's like a thing where they're like, yeah, they like muscled up so they drink raw eggs, but that doesn't make sense. Like, I don't get why that's okay.
That's like
Wait,
something
Adrian.
that.
Sorry, go ahead, Mia.
Well, I was just gonna say that sounds like something Gaston would do. Like, there's a whole part in a song where he's like, "When I was a kid, I ate 4 dozen eggs every morning to help me get large, and now that he's grown, he eats 5 dozen eggs, so he's roughly the size of a barge, and I can't even eat one, like, ever." So that's definitely like Gaston things, just Gaston things.
Mia, you may not grow to be the size of a barge then, I have to say. Adrian, did you say that your response to have you seen Rocky is that your name is Adrian? That's fair.
My dad is literally obsessed with that movie, but he hates eggs, and I feel like part of his identity is just really torn because he loves that movie and wants to try it, but he just can't stomach the eggs just at all.
You know, we can love a movie and not necessarily like have to try the things from it though. I feel like that's legit.
So with eating cookie dough and raw eggs, my mom is a public health nurse, so knew all of the issues with salmonella and all of that stuff. And when we were little, she would never let us eat the cookie dough. But then as we got older, I kind of started to realize that she loves cookie dough. So what happened was she wouldn't let us eat it, but then she would eat it when we weren't looking. And so I think she was just trying to save it for herself. And I'm still convinced that's part of the reason why I don't like cookie dough.
I just remember as a kid, 2 beaters in an electric mixer, and there were 4 kids, and it was like a knockdown drag out to see who got one of the beaters from the mixing thing. And you're licking it, and it doesn't make any sense because your tongue doesn't really fit around the metal of the thing. But oh, it was fun. It was really fun.
I used to always make cookies with my best friend growing up, and he would always, we didn't have an electric mixer, so he would always be our like electric mixer, and he would just like go really hard and like get really excited about things. And now he's a professional chef, so maybe that had some influence on him.
This is kind of random and off topic, but what all are like in the Loyola kitchens? Because I've really got a chance to see them.
You mean like the dining halls?
Or like, aren't there kitchens for floors? I don't know.
Oh, in the dorms.
Yeah.
In the dorms. Well, so freshman dorms, I guess it kind of depends on which dorm you're in. So I was in Campion, and we had one in the basement, and it was the nastiest kitchen I've ever encountered. But some of the newer dorms I know have kitchens on every floor, I believe. So definitely more opportunity there. And then after freshman year, most of the dorms have, like, each apartment has its own kitchen. So that was a nice step up from the nasty Campion kitchen.
And as part of your question, Mary, like, are there pots and pans and like utensils and stuff? Is that what you're asking about too? Or do you have to bring all that yourself?
Yeah, my main concern was like midnight cookies. Like, if I bought cookie dough, would I have the right stuff to make them?
I think, like Christina said, it depends on the dorm. I was lucky enough to live in Regis my freshman year. So we had a kitchen on every floor, and it was like decently new too. So it was like nice to use. And my neighbor would cook all the time, and then he would just come around and bring everyone food because he would make too much. And our kitchen had like a cookie sheet, but like it didn't really have much other like stuff, so we had to kind of buy it on our own.
Mary, where were you going to live your freshman year? Like, where did they place?
I want to say it was San Fran. It was between San Fran and Denobli, whichever one doesn't have the dining hall.
Yeah, that's San. Yeah, that's San Fran. Oh my gosh, I'm like thinking back to my freshman year because I'm a senior, and I'm like, oh, that was so long ago. Yeah, Damon and Denobli have dining halls, and so does Simpson. Yeah, Simpson. And Simpson's great because Simpson has like a lot of like vegetarian, vegan, and gluten-free options. It's kind of what they're known for. And then Damon's kind of like the catch-all. And then Denobli has like really good food, and they have like late night. I think it's like Wednesdays are like late nights, and they have like chicken nuggets, which you definitely would catch my friends there late at night eating chicken nuggets. So we only have about 3 minutes left, but I wanted to bring your all's attention to something that I put in the chat at 4:35. It was this reading that Hannah had given to me. Actually, I think it was my sophomore year. And it talks about food insecurity and like how people who are experiencing poverty, how they grocery shop. And so I thought that would be kind of an interesting read for you all. And if you have any questions about it, like you can feel free to email me. But I just think like something that's really vital to community service at Loyola is like understanding the issues before we serve. And I think that this is a really great opportunity to really gain some insight and education into food insecurity and how people experience that before hopefully you all can join us in the next semester or the next year or so and doing some service at these places that we were talking about.
Mackenzie, do you mind posting the email if people did have questions afterwards in the chat? Maybe you already did and I missed it.
So that's like my personal email if you have any questions for me, but like also Hannah and Megan are great resources too. So feel free to reach out to them. Yeah, and just to do a quick rundown before you all leave us on LUC Serve, our mentor program, and our mentor program. So LUC Serve is basically what we're doing right now. So like Christina and Michelle and I are all part of the virtual service committee. So we're going to do 2 more events like this semester that we're super excited for. They are not official yet, so I can't really tell you. But our job basically is we're trying to bring service into the virtual world because we still feel that desire to promote service, just even if it has to be virtual, basically. So that's what we're going to be doing this like throughout the semester, which is why you can keep emailing me and like keep looking at our LUC Serve website and our Instagram, which has a lot of information. And then what we also have, so we're just one like committee, right? And there's all these other committees that do stuff every week. Literally every week there's something going on. But we also have a mentor program if you're all interested, which is really amazing. I have my own mentee and she comes to these events and it's so much fun. I get to just kind of like help navigate with her community service opportunities we have, and just your entire just like freshman and sophomore year. It's just really nice, I think, to have someone to talk to. So that mentor program is still like going on if you all are interested. I really enjoyed being a part of it. So again, you can like email Hannah, she's in charge of it, and she does the matching for the mentor program. And then, yeah, we have a lot of other community service opportunities through outside of a COVID year, is what I'm trying to say. We have a lot of community service opportunities, which I've been part of my freshman year. So I really hope that you all like stick with it. I think it's a great sign that you all are coming to these events. I would have been so scared my freshman year. Like seriously, kudos to you all. I was so nervous. I just think it's really amazing that you're trying to get involved. So yeah, please stick with us. Email us if you have questions and look on our website. Michelle or Christina, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I also put my email in the chat if anyone ever wants to reach out about any of the aforementioned activities or groups, or even just about Chicago, Loyola, my experience. Always happy to chat. So feel free to do that.
I just want to say, please feel free to post the finished products that you make. And if you'd like to, I don't know if Megan and Hannah, you all have a social media presence that you would like to have tagged, but you can definitely tag the Wellness Center. So please feel free to share, because I am curious what these are all going to look like. And thank you all so much.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for coming. I really enjoyed this event, and it was just a fun little study break because I've had a test every single day this week. So
All right, thanks everyone. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate your time. Ooh, my rice cooker just went off. This is great. Okay, thank you all. Have an awesome night. Enjoy your treats. Tag us. Thanks for coming to the Wellness Fair. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.